Welcome to the main event of this episode of Smack Talk. Superstar scores Danny Newton. Why not, right?
Yep.
What we're going to
Game.
be doing is a fantasy booking of Brock Lesnar's WWE World Heavyweight Championship title reign, starting at the build up to Hell in a Cell and then leading to wherever you want to lead it. You can have him drop the title at Hell in a Cell. You can have him drop it, the week leading up to it, or 2 years down the line. It's up to you. So usually I do these kind of things ahead of time a little bit and post it on smarkoutmoment.com itself. And I did that again for this week. And instead of just repeating all the stuff that I've listed down there, I'm just going to bow out of doing it for this edition. Go ahead and check out what I would do on Smark Out Moment. You can read. It's okay. But everybody else here, that'll give them time to chime in with their answers. So, who wants to go first? What would you do with Brock Lesnar and the title reign?
Well, I think Drew was very eager to go first.
I mean, if you want me to go first, I could. I mean, is that
Wow,
cool
you
if I go first?
sound very enthusiastic, Jeff.
So, anyways, this is what I would do, and this is shooting from the hip. I don't write stuff down and post on the website like Tony Mango does, because that's fucking amateur. So, this is how I would book it. I would have him hold the title up until WrestleMania, because why not? So this is what's gonna happen. All right. Anyways, so I'm just pointing that out right now. I have him show up at Survivor Series, and he's gonna be team leader of one team, and then the other team's gonna be Team John Cena, because why not? John Cena, he's the champ. Brock Lesnar. No, Cena wins that one, so you have that win over Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar gets eliminated via disqualification. All right. Going up to the TLC, he's going to have a match against Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose wins the number one contender. It's going to be a TLC match, and Brock Lesnar wins, but only because he climbs up and gets that coveted WWE Championship trophy, even though Dean Ambrose pretty much breaks his knees, but he gets it. At the Rumble, Brock Lesnar will face... who will he face? He'll face... Dean Ambrose again, in just a standard match. He loses. No, he wins. My bad. He wins. Going to Elimination Chamber. He will survive the chamber. He will survive the chamber. All right. I'm not going to mention the 5 people in there. It's going to be 5 people. And then last but not least, he's going to lose at WrestleMania to John Cena. John Cena is going to have that title. Seth Rollins is going to come out and cash it in after Brock Lesnar beats the shit out of Cena. And as soon as he cashes it in the bell ring, Brock Lesnar runs in there and just beats the shit out of Seth Rollins. So John Cena will be your champion after walking out of WrestleMania.
So why John Cena?
Because I don't see anyone else winning that title off him.
Not your Daniel Bryan's, your Roman Reigns, your Cesaro.
It's like this. I don't think Cesaro is not going to get a mega push to the moon in the next few months, unfortunately. I'm in the boat where I don't think Brock Lesnar should lose unless it's to someone legitimate. Like last year during SummerSlam when against CM Punk, that was such bullshit. Brock Lesnar should have destroyed CM Punk. Because you should be able to wrestling's fake. There's a storyline involved, but you shouldn't. You have to make it somewhat believable. You can't make me believe that CM Punk actually had a shot at beating Brock Lesnar, and essentially almost did. Paul Heyman had to interfere for Brock Lesnar to win. So I don't think Daniel Bryan should beat Brock Lesnar. I think they have a fantastic match, but I don't think Daniel Bryan should face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I would like to see him face Brock Lesnar though, along the line, if it's possible. Maybe after he comes back or something. Maybe he could be one of. Maybe I could fit him in that TLC or something like that if he's able to come back. But I mean, John Cena. It depends what they want to do with Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins. If they do triple threat or not, maybe Roman Reigns. But I don't know when he's going to be back and how he's going to perform when he comes back. Other than those two, there's not many people on that roster you could see take the title off them, unless you have Undertaker come back and retire after winning the championship. I could see him maybe doing something like that So actually, yeah, I'm going to change that. I'm going to say Undertaker wins the title off of. Brock Lesnar will be his final match, and then he retires to the next night of Raw. I think that would be the best way for. I'm just saying that would. I mean,
So here's my answer, but fuck everything that I just said.
Just ignore the past 3 minutes I just rambled on. Now I'm gonna go with this one.
Yeah. So
Great preparation, kid.
well, I told you I wasn't ready. I was gonna write stuff down while you guys went, but in all seriousness, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I think Brock Lesnar's not Undertaker's last match will be at this WrestleMania, and he will win and then retire the next time around as champion. I think that'd be the best way for Undertaker to go out now.
But then that means that Undertaker has to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
didn't figure this one out, did you, dickhead?
oh shit, that's a good point. I forgot that.
All right, so forget the next 3 minutes again. I'm gonna go see Tino.
No, actually, nah, he's retired, dude. Can't have that. But yeah, fuck it, I don't even care. Undertaker's gonna win.
Fuck me.
Who wants to go
Okay.
next?
I'll
Oh,
go
fuck.
next.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. The way I see it, there's not many matches you can do with Brock Lesnar. To me, you don't want to burn him out too much because he is an attraction. Even with the belt, if you have him pop up on every single pay-per-view, he's going to start losing his luster. So I'm honestly okay with the idea of not having him pop up at the Cell pay-per-view. I think, honestly, I probably would not have had him pop up at Night of Champions and then saved him for the Cell, because I think a Brock Lesnar Cell match would be big bucks, but they already blew through that. So I think at this point you gotta be willing to take that risk of not having him on there. So I wouldn't even have him pop up on the Cell. You could put Cena in another matchup; it doesn't matter. Keep Brock off of there. I would have him, honestly. I would even keep some more time off of that. So for Survivor Series, what I would do is, instead of doing a singles matchup, I would actually kind of go with Drew's idea and go with some type of multi-man Survivor Series type matchup. And I would actually keep the theme of maybe having Heyman guys in there. So on one side, I would have Brock Lesnar, Cesaro, and Rybaxel against maybe John Cena, Sheamus, and I'll say the Usos. We'll have those guys. You can have it be something where it's not elimination, where it's just, one fall to a finish. That way you can have somebody else take the pinfall, because if you do it elimination, sooner or later that means that Brock Lesnar's going to have to take the pinfall, and we don't want that yet. So I would probably have a situation where I would have maybe have Cesaro take the pinfall on that team. That way you can set up something where maybe Cesaro gets mad at Paul Heyman or something like that, and that leads to TLC, where I I would honestly have that be the big confrontation, because that seems to be one of the matches a lot of people have been pushing for, is Brock Lesnar versus Cesaro. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it on there. That way, if Cesaro loses, it doesn't make him look too bad, because it'll either be a tables matchup or even a TLC matchup. So I'd probably go with that. Moving forward to the Royal Rumble, if they're going to turn Orton face, which is from what I've heard the idea is, I would probably have that matchup happen at the Rumble, because it's a big enough matchup to where it's high profile for the Rumble, but at the same time, it's not something that you have to worry about because you have the Rumble matchup. So it's big enough for that pay-per-view. So I'd probably have him go over there, and obviously he's going to lose that too, because that sets up the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, where honestly, I know they're gonna want to put on a. You know what? I don't know. I'm saying I don't want to put Brock Lesnar in an Elimination Chamber matchup, because I think that makes him look that'll make the outcome look weak. But I think this is where you take the belt off him, and I think if you're gonna do an Elimination Chamber matchup, I think this is where you have Roman Reigns win the title at the Elimination Chamber, because one of the ideas I want to have is, I want to have, if Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan are both coming back at the same time, I want to do Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble and then Roman Reigns winning the title at the Elimination Chamber, because I think there's huge money in a Daniel Bryan Reigns matchup at WrestleMania. So that's what I would set up. And in terms of Brock Lesnar, I think one of the things I want to set up is, I want to set up a scenario where Reigns comes in. It's the night after the Elimination Chamber. He wins the title. He comes out. He's having a big celebration. Everybody's happy for him. And then you have The Rock come in and congratulate Reigns. Have like a Roman Reigns appreciation night, where you have all these people and you have The Rock come in, and since they're both cousins, he comes in and congratulates him. Rock comes in. He's all angry at Reigns. He tries to attack Reigns. The Rock comes in, he saves his cousin, and that, I think, sets up your big entertainment media matchup, which I think Vince really likes, in The Rock versus Brock Lesnar, which I'm not mistaken was the plans for last year's WrestleMania. So you have your big, wrestling matchup for the title with Bryan and Reigns, which I know a lot of people like those guys, and I think that's a big high-profile matchup. And under the card, you have your big media matchup with Brock versus The Rock. So you can still make it a big deal. You can still have Rock on that. You can still have your Brock Lesnar on there, but at the same time, I wouldn't have him lose at WrestleMania. I would rather just save that and have your big media matchup. That way it can go either way. So as far as WrestleMania is concerned, that's as far as I would go with Brock Lesnar winning with the his title reign.
Alrighty, who's next?
I'll go then. For Hell in a Cell, I would do the fourth match with Brock Lesnar and John Cena, mainly because that ending to Night of Champions makes no fucking sense to me unless you're doing a Hell in a Cell match to blow off the feud, and I'd have Brock Lesnar win that. Also, I'd have Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in another additional Hell in a Cell, since they like to throw a couple on there, and that sets up Dean Ambrose becoming the number one contender for the following Survivor Series. So you've got your Survivor Series match with Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, which Lesnar wins. But for a Survivor Series tag match on the undercard, what I'd do is have a team of faces versus heels, and the winning team then will compete in a series of matches against each other to be the number one contender. And the reason I say that is because Survivor Series has pretty much become redundant. Vince doesn't look at it favorable, so you need to do something and throw an extra bit of sizzle on there to have it some meaning. So the big Survivor Series tag match, it has title implications. And using that match and that series of matches to claim a number one contender, I'd have Cesaro win. Or better yet, you could have the sole survivors compete over it. And if there's only one sole survivor, you have Cesaro win that. So then you've got TLC, Lesnar versus Cesaro again. Lesnar's beat a more established Cesaro. Come Royal Rumble time, generally they have a throwaway title match that doesn't mean much because the focus is on the Rumble itself, which I'm going to have Roman Reigns win. So my one idea that I had out there is you put Sheamus against Brock Lesnar. You do a whole champion versus champion thing, and that way you could fucking retire the US title and get rid of that in the process, because fuck that belt. So Elimination Chamber, you can have Brock Lesnar just face a bunch of guys that he's already beaten before, because that way not only you built him up as basically eliminating everyone that could beat him, but doing it all at once and really selling him as this monster. And then you've got your WrestleMania match. Brock Lesnar, who couldn't be beaten by any member of the roster, loses to Roman Reigns. And that sets Roman Reigns on fire, and you've got your big new babyface.
Pretty straightforward. Very similar to what I have in a lot of different respects. I think it's because we had talked before about different plans, and we kind of didn't stray too far from what we were saying.
But here's the thing. I know a lot of people at least I've read online, that are eager to put the belt on Reigns sooner than later. I can't blow your load on that too soon. And the only reason I didn't put Daniel Bryan in any of my plans is because it's kind of hard to predict when or if he'll be back.
What, you would have rather had Bryan against Lesnar?
In the main event of Mania, no, but I would have liked to do that match at some point.
See, I see the prospect of Bryan versus Reigns as almost like I can't say it has the same grandeur of an Austin versus Rock, but the idea of two big fan favorite baby faces facing each other, I think is intriguing, and I think if you play it straight as like just these two guys going out there and just proving which one is the better, which one is is better, or the better man over the other. I think if you build that seriously and treat it right, I think you can get a lot of people to really get behind it. I mean, I can't think of two bigger baby faces outside of John Cena than those two.
Here's my issue with the Mania main event. In my opinion, it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but more often than not, it needs to be that story about the young up-and-coming guy finally making it to the big time and getting his title. I like that. I like that story. I like a good feel moment to close out Mania. And if you've got two baby faces, the issue is, portion of the fans are going to leave upset.
Not necessarily. Yeah, I guess that's the case. I honestly do see a future though where Bryan versus Reigns happens, and I could honestly see Bryan maybe being the heel in that regard.
Well, don't blow your load on it straight away. Give it a couple of years. Let rings become established.
Maybe WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, exactly.
True. I just feel like Brian is in a situation. He's kind of in the situation right now that Bret Hart was in when he came back in '97. Like, I don't think he's going to be as hot as a babyface when he comes back. And I think you can, if you wanted to maybe jumpstart a heel turn from there, maybe start at WrestleMania and go with it. I don't know. I just think that there's money in a matchup between those guys. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's too soon, but I don't know. I just figure I don't want to put Brock Lesnar in the main event because I do agree that I kind of agree with Vince in a way where I think a media matchup like Rock versus Brock would get a lot of people going, but at the same time I don't want that to be for the title. I don't know. Too many people just see Reigns versus Brock, and I'm maybe not into it yet. We'll see where it goes down the line.
Baden, what would your schedule be?
All right, bear with me on this one here. So, we could skip Hell in a Cell. If we want to, I guess we could do John Cena versus Brock Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell match. But for now, I think I kind of like what WWE is doing here. You don't need to use Brock Lesnar every month. Even if his contract opened up a bit, still save him. Let him remain special. So we can skip Hell in a Cell. For that, I kind of like the idea Wago was saying of putting Ambrose and Rollins inside of a match where the person who wins that ends up as the number one contender. Because at this point, Cena doesn't deserve another chance. He got his rematch. That's done, out of the way. He goes to the back of the line, has to earn his way back up. So whoever would win between Ambrose and Rollins at Hell in a Cell goes against him at Survivor Series. I would have that be Ambrose. And I would have Lesnar and Ambrose have their fight. Once again, have that match end in a DQ with Seth Rollins interfering, costing Ambrose the match, and then they continue their feud. I would just have them continue their feud going all the way to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is finally where they have that big blow-off, whatever it is they decide they want to do with those guys. I would perhaps give Brock Lesnar TLC off as well. If you want, you could just find some random person to go out there and fight. I don't know, like maybe like a Randy Orton. I guess Randy Orton's a heel. I don't know. Maybe I'll just give him off TLC. Royal Rumble, I would have him go in there, and I would have him go against an upper mid-card guy. Maybe someone like a Cesaro if you can turn him babyface in time, or maybe a Dolph Ziggler. Even a Sheamus. I think that was a good option you could throw in there. Someone around that level, throw them in there. Elimination Chamber, and he would go over at Royal Rumble, by the way. Elimination Chamber, have him just destroy everyone who's in there. It doesn't really matter who's in there. It's just going to be him beating 5 guys. I would actually have it get to the point where he's the first guy in there. All the other people get in there without an elimination, and then he, at some point, just goes into Hulk mode and then just stomps all over them.
So kind of like Goldberg when he was in an Elimination Chamber match? Up until like Triple H hits him with the sledgehammer?
I think that's how that played. I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
Didn't Goldberg come out later? He didn't start at number 1, did he?
No, he came out last.
Yeah,
but
that's what
he wrecked
did.
everyone who was in there, though.
Yeah, something like that's fine. Just somewhere he's going to look like a complete and total monster.
Yeah,
Now,
I
here's
like that idea because you could even have him like make it the shortest Elimination Chamber match ever. He just like eliminates them before the next entrant comes in. Could be a massacre.
Mm-hmm. Going into WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar has his big opponent, which I didn't mention just yet. The Royal Rumble, I would have won by John Cena.
Oh.
I would have the final two be John Cena and either Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, whichever one seemed like they're getting more babyface heat at the time. I would have them be the final two, have them have a really heated battle at the end, similar to like Shawn Michaels Undertaker had in 2007, something that was kind of like its own match at the end of the Rumble. And at the end, Cena wins it with something that's not quite could be considered shenanigans, but something that's just a little devious, just a little, just a hair. And with that, and the fact that he just took out whoever the crowd was trying to get behind, I could see the crowd starting to get this little bit of a turn on him. We go into WrestleMania. John Cena gets so impassionate during this, and Brock Lesnar eventually, with Paul Heyman's special talking skills, convinces John Cena that this is the last time that he's ever facing Brock Lesnar for that World Heavyweight title. And if he does not beat him for it this time, John Cena retires. Yes. I would have Brock Lesnar win that match. And that would be the end of John Cena, at least for now. You know, people retire and they come back. But John Cena's banged up. The company has to learn to move on. They got a whole pool of talent that they can go to and just see how it goes. Let Cena go away, even if it's just for 6 months to a year. Just take that chance. You could do it. And this means Brock Lesnar holds this title past WrestleMania. That's pretty much the end point. Everyone else is throwing for him. But you know what? I'm thinking about it. A lot of people's big worry is that a lot of these up-and-coming guys, the Roman Reigns, the Cesaros, are not going to be ready by WrestleMania. So if they're not, then let's take it in this direction. Something a little bit different, something to show that there is still this changing of the guard going on with John Cena being kicked out. And then we'll continue on with Brock Lesnar being dominant. And with that getting rid of John Cena, who I mentioned earlier was getting that little bit of heel heat on him, this could be the start of a Brock Lesnar face turn. And I would continue that turn going slowly through the coming months, leading all the way up into SummerSlam. You can have him face some random jabroni opponents through then, like a Christian or a Chris Jericho if he's back around or something like that. But by the time you come to SummerSlam, I want him to be fully on the babyface side. And at SummerSlam, he would compete against The Rock. And The Rock, this time, would be a heel. The Rock is going to come back and reprise his Hollywood Rock role. Because, hey, he came back. He said he was never, ever leaving us, but he left us. And he went back to Hollywood with the bright lights and all that. It'd be a great way for him to generate a lot of heat. And I think it would be the greatest thing that The Rock could do if he was going to come back for any more matches. So I would have them have that match. And, I've talked before that I think they want to do something really big with SummerSlam next year because I get this feeling that they might possibly be trying to put that in MetLife Stadium. They haven't announced the venue yet, but they did that whole New York/New Jersey thing like they did for WrestleMania 29. We will see with that one. But if they wanted to make it something big enough where they could pack a stadium like that, Brock Lesnar versus The Rock is the way to go. Brock Lesnar goes over again. At this point, he's a babyface, so the remainder of 2014, he could just be going over random heels that you want to have him go in there, whether it's Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, whatever heel that you want to slot in there, going all the way up until the next WrestleMania. And then, after over a year and a half long reign, I guess it would be a little short, under a year and a half. I don't know what it would be, but somewhere around that, you finally have whoever that big babyface that you wanted to build up win the Royal Rumble, go into WrestleMania, and get that big victory over Brock Lesnar.
Over a babyface Brock Lesnar? Or does he turn heel?
You could turn him back heel by that point. You could do the journey.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. They probably don't want to have CM Punk be known as the longest reigning champion in the modern era. I bet that's
exactly.
And having Brock Lesnar do that, I think that would actually make more sense than having CM Punk. Yeah, I would love it if they did that. That'd be awesome.
Just watch. He'll be 1 week away from doing it, and then he'll get like some major injury.
No, and then Punk returns. You can't have my title.
Well, the only way that they can really do that is if they bring out the honkometer with him.
You know what? You can even make this part of a story. If they smooth things out with Punk by then, if it gets to the point where he's about to break the record, have Punk come in and be like, "Oh no, you're not going to take this from me," and build up a match for them at probably be around Royal Rumble-ish. Do that with them.
Punk throws a banana peel in the ring the week before the record's about to be blown. Like during the Brock Lesnar segment, he's about to walk out the ring and he just throws a banana peel out there. He slips and hurts himself.
Somebody throws a blue shell. Since he's at the top of the company, it hits him. Mario Kart. So you would go with Roman Reigns being the one who eventually takes the title?
I don't know. Like I said, it's whoever they want to push it this time. This is over a year from now we're talking about. I don't know who that could be. It could be Roman Reigns. It could be Cesaro. It could be Kenta. It could be Sami Zayn. I don't know.
Damien Sandow.
It could be Damien Sandow. Why the hell not?
He's got a weird beard.
So does Daniel Bryan.
No,
so does Sheamus.
Yeah, fucking Sheamus.
To be fair, it's not that Sheamus has a weird beard. It's that Eric Rowan has a weird beard that Sheamus is wearing.
Seriously, though, Sheamus fucking looks like a bunch of baby ginger rats died on his face.
There's an image.
Yeah, that's a specific image.
So let me just ask you guys, do you think that would be a burnout of Brock Lesnar's time with that title? Do you think people would still be able to get behind him? Do you think he'd be able to hold on as a special draw with that? And do you think even if he went to a babyface run, he could even become a bigger draw and really bring in audiences for a boom period of sorts?
I think as a babyface, yeah. But I don't think he'd be able to have much behind him if he faces a Christian at one point. I don't think that would ever attract much.
Definitely kill the special attraction appeal with him. And personally, I like long title reigns. I think they're important and they should be more often. So, but I think the internet will get sick of it.
I think the problem with the problem with Brock Lesnar, in terms of the idea of him being a babyface, is what heel could you put against him that would cause the fans to root for him?
Randy
You know,
Orton.
it's not a situation where, like, when he turned babyface his first run, that was a situation where he was such a different attraction to everything else that the people just got into it. It was also Goldberg's situation where he was so dominant that fans started to turn around on him. In this case, he's dominant, but it's not in a way that's endearing. It's they've already established that he's just a UFC guy, an MMA guy coming in, you know, and winning the belt and whatnot. You know, they've kind of made him the outsider.
Here's the thing:
know,
he becomes the Mike Tyson attraction. You're watching him because he mauls the shit out of people. It's fun to watch.
And
Also-
if you're looking to get the babyface heat on him, what you could do is, just like now, protect him with matches with weapons, and the person could be beating him down with a weapon, and then he makes his comeback with just his fists.
Also, another
People
thing
rally
that-
behind him for that.
another person he could face if he turns face. Get it? But if Batista returns, that's a good person. That'd be a match I think people would love to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like not like one of the big pay-per-views, but definitely that'd be something that people would check out to see. Because I think Batista's not as big as the name as like The Rock or Brock Lesnar, but I think some people would tune in. Like, hey, I remember that guy. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think you could market that at a pretty big.
And that's the reason why I think most people probably wouldn't boo him. I think the moment Batista comes back, he's going to be a face because of his involvement in Guardians of the Galaxy. Because I know a lot of people who he won over with that role. I know.
So maybe do Batista Brock at Royal Rumble if Batista's back by then.
I
good
would
time
much
to do.
rather see Brock face Groot.
I'm an advocate for Batista coming back as long as he's doing a jack ton of steroids because fucking new Batista's just look kind of
Skinny.
meh. Yeah, I don't like the new Batista. He doesn't have that imposing figure anymore.
It's like,
I mean,
to
I mean,
quote-
it's fine when he's wrestling fucking Daniel Bryan, but he's not the animal anymore to me. It's kind of like the new and improved Chris Masters that just kind of got deflated.
Now he's
Also-
David.
Also,
David.
to quote Triple H, he is a skinny fat ass.
David.
Another, I will say this though, in terms of the idea of Cena retiring, to me that's far-fetched, and the only reason is because depending on if Reigns and Bryan are even back by then, you know, let's say it's a situation where they come back right before WrestleMania, you still need a top face to be in there, and I can't think of anyone that's even close. And I'm not saying that that's a situation where it's anything, you know, that isn't WWE's fault. I get that it's WWE's fault, but at the same time, I don't see them putting John Cena in a situation where he can't be on TV is the thing.
Honestly, we mentioned Randy Orton possibly turning face. I mean, shoot, he could face. That could be
If-
something.
Randy
He's
Orton gets turned. If Bray Wyatt gets turned, I mean, you're gonna have time to build up your Roman Reigns, or excuse me, your Dean Ambroses. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan will hopefully be back. You got this slew of people you're bringing up from NXT.
Yeah, like
Like,
Gold Dempsey.
By March, April, you could be in a much better shape to lose a guy like John Cena.
And you know, if Brock Lesnar does have this long reign, you know, the future's
Brock
looking
Lesnar
really
will be
good
the
for
draw.
WWE. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, no, the future's also looking really good, especially in NXT. So they could definitely build some people up by like late next year if he holds it that long, and he could have a feud with them.
If they lost the entire roster right now and they just populated it with the NXT roster,
They'd
think
be
it's
fine.
fine.
They'd be better. Honestly.
Yeah, I think they'd be better off if they just the NXT roster and maybe a handful of other guys like Ambrose and Rollins.
The people we do like.
Seriously,
Yeah.
just bring Cassidy and fucking Enzo over and just let me listen to them every segment. I'll be happy.
Can they bring Carmella with them?
well, yeah, they have to.
Yeah, as long as but can she be naked?
Yeah, how you doing?
She can come all right. Ooh. I had to.
And for more great material like that, you can read Tony's on Smark at Moment.
Yeah, you can tune into the All Talk show.
This article is about Carmella.
How you doing, Carmella? Alrighty, everybody. Make sure that you leave a comment below and tell us what you think that WWE should do to book Brock Lesnar's title reign. Who would you end up having him lose the title to? When would that happen? So on and so forth. Tell us what you think about what our cards are as well. And that is it for our main event for this episode. We have one more thing to do in the next part, so we will see you then. Click on that next video, everyone.